to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. This is Ethan Van Sciver. I am an artist for DC Comics and have been for 20 years. And very happy to sit here and talk to you about a book that I did last year that I got to contribute to. This is Green Lanterns with an S at the end, Rebirth. It's a special one-shot, $2.99. Written by Jeff Johns, Sam Humphries, drawn by me and Ed Benez, colored by the great Jason Wright. This is interesting. I was all signed up last year to do a part of a chapter in the DC Comics universe Rebirth. Let me see. DCU Rebirth special, number 1, with Jeff. And this was the first time Jeff had written anything in a long time. He called me up and said, "Hey, I want you to do a chapter." And I said, "Well, what is it about?" And he said, "Well," he's like, "I can't tell you, but you will be getting to bring back, Wally West as Kid Flash." And I went, "Whoa, okay, I'm in." So I was committed to do a chapter of this book with him. A bunch of other artists contributed. I mean, the best of the best, as far as I'm concerned. Gary Frank, Ivan Rice, Phil Jimenez, Joe Prado, and then just the best colorists, including my guy Jason Wright. And this is one of my covers for the book. But anyway, while we were doing this, we were talking about relaunching Green Lantern, the Green Lantern franchise. And I was like, hey, my whole goal in life right now is to get on the Hal Jordan book. Wherever Hal Jordan is, that's where I want to be. And Dan DiDio did tell me that there was going to be a book called Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, which was a title that I'd given him. I don't know if he just subconsciously sublimated that name and used it, but I had asked him earlier when he came to me at the convention and said, "What would you like to do?" I said, I wish you guys would build me, if I could have anything, I wish you guys would build me a book kind of like you built Dave Finch for his Batman the Dark Knight series, where you would just let me do whatever I wanted to do with Green Lantern. We'd call it Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, and it would be all-encompassing. It could be out of continuity or not, but it would just be a playground for me to create for Green Lantern. And he said, and this is kind of, Dan does that. Dan likes to think about things for a little while, but he'll kind of give you a little bit of a, I don't know, kind of answer when you give him an idea like that. Or at least he does it to me. I don't know if he does it to everybody. But then later it turned out that there was going to be a book called Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. And Dan DiDio originally asked me if I wanted to work on Teen Titans, or he's like, "You don't want Teen Titans?" And I was like, "No, I want Hal Jordan." And he said, "Okay, well, you can do that book." So anyway, I'm talking to Jeff Johns about this, and he's saying, "Look, that's cool, but that book," he's like, "this book here that I'm building, Green Lanterns, it's going to have Jessica, it's going to have Simon Baz, and it's going to be the more progressive, like forward-thinking Green Lantern series, because it's going to take place on Earth. The two characters in the lead are, kind of diverse. Jessica is Latina, and Simon Baz is Muslim, and it's just a chance to kind of attack Green Lantern from another angle." With new characters and to build these guys up. And I said, I want Hal Jordan. And he said, "Okay, but I'm going to co-write." No, he actually said, "I'm going to write the first issue of Green Lantern's Rebirth, this special." He's like, "I want you to draw it." And I said, "Well, definitely. Whatever. I don't care what Jeff writes. I'll draw it. That's just not even a question." So it turns out that he was only going to write this kind of framing device around the story of Jessica and Simon in this issue. It was only going to be 10 pages out of the 20, and I was supposed to draw the pages that Jeff wrote, and then Sam Humphries was going to write the other 10, and Ed Benez was going to draw those. which was a little disappointing for me. Like, I really thought Jeff was going to give me a whole 20-page issue that we could do together. And even if we weren't going to do that, then I would have liked to have drawn the whole book with Sam Humphries. The other 10 pages that he wrote, I would have liked to have drawn those too. But DC was hustling. They were like, we are on a bi-weekly schedule. You have to do DC Universe Rebirth, which was 13 pages. You have to do 20 pages of Hal Jordan Rebirth, number one. And then we need you to do 10 pages of Green Lantern's Rebirth. And then we got to kick you off onto Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 4, because you've got to do issues 4 and 5. So it was like a super tight schedule. They, considered, these 2 issues together to be more than 1 issue's worth of work. And that was 2 issues that I needed to do in 2 months. So it made sense. Anyway, I did do the cover. They had this whole kind of cover scheme that everybody had to do, which was heads on the cover. And I think the idea of doing a head and a hand kind of situation was based on Green Lantern Rebirth number 1 that Jeff and I did together, where I did this cover that looked exactly like this. This was the Spectre, and he was holding a lantern, and inside the lantern was a reflection upside down of Parallax. And they said, do something like that for this. And I said, well, there are 2 characters in this, and I don't know what to do. But I decided to do this instead, and they thought this was clever. We have Jessica in the Spectre pose, holding up the lantern, and then you see the reflection of Simon Baz as he's about to put his ring, like she's holding it for him to charge. Is it a great cover? It's okay. I don't know. I say, yeah, it's all right. I think I could do better. No, it's good. Who knows? Anyway, you might as well just say to me, as we crack this book open, Ethan, it's not going to be 10 pages, it's going to be 9, because this page is almost completely drawn by Jason Wright, the colorist. Jeff said we open on a beautiful splash of the universe and kind of the Milky Way, I think. And then, look, we cut to a streaking form, like a green streak that's being chased. So I got paid my page rate, which is, guys, if I told you how much I got paid per page, you would be very impressed. I got paid my page rate to leave this blank, to draw this little box with an arrow, and then to draw this line, and then these little streaky lines right here. Jason Wright did this whole page. You can do that sometimes. You can, they give you a little break. So it's like, oh, thank you, that's a nice gift. But you break it open and then forget it. It's like that gift has gone away because Jeff has asked me to design a new Guardian. And this new Guardian guy, hang on, let me fix this mount here. This new Guardian is very, very old, and he's related to the Templar Guardians that Jeff and I created together. And he's been locked away for a long time, and he's kind of a wizard or something. Jeff gave me a really good description of what this guy looked like. And so, I put all these weird little kind of future steampunky kind of dials all over him, as though he measures things. He measures the stuff in the universe. Who knows what he's doing? And he's got a nice tunic, nice costume design, half of a helmet here, and a braided goatee. I don't know where all this stuff came from. It's just my imagination. I wanted him to look a little bit like a kooky kind of science wizard from the 15th century, mixed with the Guardian. And one of his eyes is black and the other one's white, and he's got a scar across his nose. This guy has a lot of stories to tell. There's a lot about him. You can tell he's led an interesting life. He has a lot of secrets. He knows a lot of stuff. And if you knew what he knew, you would know a lot of cool stuff, because he's being chased by these guys who, what are their names? Oh, the Dominators, right. So he's being chased by all these Dominators, and I used the Todd McFarlane series that he did for DC for these characters. I used his artwork for reference. You can see all these very Todd McFarlane-y teeth, and that was a blast to draw. So he's being chased by, thousands and thousands of dominators, and he's got a little box under his arm. Like, what is the box? What's in the box? I think I watched a documentary by the guys who made the Lost TV show, and they said the one thing that really intrigues people, like viewers, is a question about what's in the box. And so if you watch Lost, over and over again, there are all these like what's in the box kind of questions, like what's in the hatch, what's in the airplane, all these kinds of things that are just, they make you wonder what's in there. I think Jeff saw the same documentary, because here we have a guy with a box, and he's streaking across the universe here. They're still on his tail. And then look at these toaster-looking spacecraft. These are Dominator-like, I don't know, these would be just huge, gigantic warships. And they're shaped like the letter U. They look like toaster ovens. This was the Todd McFarlane design for the Dominator spacecraft. So I stayed true to it. I wanted, even though I thought it was strange, I wanted it to be that. I wanted it to follow that design. So our Guardian stops. He knows he's in deep trouble, and he opens the box, and boom, there's this incredible, beautiful light, and you can see inside. This is very much what Jeff and I do. There's a symbol that's set free, and this was a brand new symbol that ended up being the symbol for the Phantom Lantern. The Phantom Lantern. If he ever got a core, he'd be the Phantom Lantern core. This would be the symbol on his on all their rings that they asked me to come up with, and I'm happy to do that. And we cut to some beautiful Ed Benez pages. Ed did these really quickly, I remember. Everybody was on a very tight schedule. I mean, I certainly know I was. Getting to kind of knock out one page in 5 seconds was helpful on the schedule. And you wouldn't really know it unless I told you. That's kind of how it worked. It's good stuff. I like Ed, and I like seeing him draw Jessica. This might be Jessica's first appearance in her new costume as a Green Lantern. She looks really cool. Simon looks cool. These two don't trust each other, I guess. They're not really competent, but here comes a manhunter, and they've got to take down this manhunter together. This is all Sam Humphries writing this whole sequence here. This is a great shot here. Yeah, this is, I don't know, I think they were already working on the first issue or something. And anyway, it says simulation ceased, and I don't know, they failed to beat the manhunter. And out of the sky, here comes me, I'm back. This isn't me, this is Hal Jordan, but this is my artwork. Jeff begins writing again. Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, you were both chosen because you have the ability to overcome great fear. Better start acting like it. Oh, I love Jeff Johns. Jeff asked me to draw Hal Jordan descending from the heavens. That sounded to me very angelic, and this was really an interesting kind of pose to put him in. Just seeing him as almost like the second coming of Christ. I shouldn't say things like that, but believe me, those kind of images go through my head when I draw superheroes, and those kinds of feelings are what I am deliberately trying to evoke. The wrath of God. Here's Hal Jordan. His hair, I like it. It's a little bit longer than I used to draw it in Rebirth. It's influenced by the way guys wear their hair now, just a lot longer, a lot bigger, and it's blown in his face here, which I liked drawing. Deactivate that hunk of junk, he tells his ring, and the manhunter falls into a million pieces. While our guys just watch on. You're telling me that's your robot? Yeah, it's a manhunter training drone, and you guys failed the test. Hal's a little bit irritated with them. These two are immature in the way they're interacting with each other. She's giving him a talk to the hand, and he's like, this one right here, what do you want from me? Like that, that's this gesture. Yeah, what do you want from me? And now they're at each other's throats. Simon built, let's see. Interesting. Okay, so Jeff, when he wrote this, he said, "Hey, have Simon. They're fighting. Have Simon like make a construct of the Earth, and he's kind of dividing it in half here. Like, and he's saying, you take this half, and I'll take this half. Like, we don't even have to interact with each other. We both have to defend the Earth. You take that half, I'll take this half. That didn't. Even though I drew it, he changed the dialogue to see that this is Earth. There are already 5 Green Lanterns, 5, and she says 6, and that's not my fault. I didn't just put the ring on. It has to choose you. It did. So that didn't end up in there. Like he ended up just showing this Earth, and then just saying, hey, there are already 5 Green Lanterns here on Earth, or from Earth. So that's a shame. I actually like that piece of dialogue that he had written that didn't make it in, and Hal separates them the way he does. I do believe that, and I think Jeff believes this too, Hal Jordan makes very simple constructs that accomplish simple tasks. He's not showing off. Like he could have made a big, like if this were Kyle Rayner, he would have made a referee, like a big green referee that would have pushed the two apart. It would have been silly. Hal's like, no, he creates this thing here. It's like a, piston kind of shape that pushes the two apart. And he says, all of you summon your power batteries. And so they do. This is a pretty cool shot right here. Hal's just watching them. Jessica looks beautiful and graceful. I co-created Jessica with Jeff Johns, so she belongs to me. All right, and Hal takes the batteries, and I really like these little panels here. These are nice. And he just clings them together and makes one power battery. And now he's just basically saying, you guys are going to have to work together. I mean, that's just it. There's now only one power battery, which means you will not be splitting up the Earth. You will be working as a team and deal with it. And here they go. They're starting to, hey, they have great respect for Hal. I'm happy to try. I was going to say the same thing. He says, I get it. You need us. And Hal smiles at that. He's like, you need each other. Core is about collaboration. This was a big thing here. Smile, Hal. These characters right here. Oh, this is so good. Oh, I love myself sometimes. Look at that Super Friends Hal Jordan smile right there. Look at him. Happy. That's Hal Jordan. He's a happy warrior. He's happy to be a superhero. He has a good time. He's doing the right thing. He gets to help people. That's his life. He has great power, and he has a great time using it. So that's our guy Hal Jordan there. And then in the meantime, oh, this page got me in trouble. So he's introducing them to the Justice League. He takes them up to, I guess, are they on the moon? Or are they on a satellite orbiting the Earth? I can't remember where they were. I think they're on a satellite now. But I got to draw the entire Justice League, except for Superman. This turns out to be the Justice League of the movie that was coming. So while Jeff was working on Justice League the movie, he wrote this, and this was actually, it's funny to see it now and realize that. It's like, these characters are not in the movie, unfortunately. No Green Lanterns. But it's almost like, hey, this is an ad for the upcoming film. Now, Hal is easygoing. He's like, hey, this is welcome to the team. You guys are going to be working on the Justice League, and here are the Justice League. They're my friends. Well, they're supposed to be nervous. Like, they're not meeting peers here. They're meeting gods. So of course, what you do is you want to look up at them. That's just a perspective trick, or it's just storytelling, really. I mean, when you're looking down on someone, oftentimes it diminishes them. When you look up at them, it grants them stature. Wonder Woman, I don't know why. I think I wanted Wonder Woman in the foreground. It was almost like prescient. Like Wonder Woman's movie was going to be a great big hit. She was going to be the star of Justice League. I didn't know that then, but I went ahead and put her in the foreground. Unfortunately, we're looking up her skirt. And as I started drawing her, I became aware that she's not wearing like a bikini like she normally does. That would have been okay. She's not wearing a skirt like she's wearing this kind of, what do you call this? A tunic? Like I don't even know what this would be called. But there's nothing here. And I'd already gotten into the drawing. I decided this was the layout I wanted to use. And some like feminists on Twitter were like, that EVS, just going for the cheesecake. Let me ask you something. Does that look like a cheesecake face to you? Does that look like I'm trying to sell Wonder Woman as sexy? I'm trying to sell her as extremely powerful and unknowable. I'm not trying to sell her as a sex kitten here. It just so happens that whoever designed her costume did this to her. And what am I supposed to do about it? So I put heavy shadows. And you know, that even still, there were a bunch of feminists on Twitter that kind of, it rubs you the wrong way when people get you wrong. They were just like, oh, I'm never buying another one of his books again. He sexualizes female characters. No, I don't. I really, truly don't. I don't mean to. I just do my job. I'm not thinking about, you know, creating material that is meant to excite you in that way. It's meant to excite you in this way. So anyway, that got on my nerves, but it's fun to talk about it now. You at least get to tell your little story. I love Flash. He's like, oh, hey, like he's excited about working with them. The rest of the four are like, who are you guys? And we're going to put you to work. But again, I love that little face. Look at him. It's like Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. It was such a pleasure to draw that. Smile. Everyone smile. All right, so here we go. Yeah, I guess they are in a satellite somewhere orbiting Earth. And Hal Jordan exits, leaving them watching behind. You know, nice. And by the way, listen, I never do this, but I'm about to confess to something. I just traced this. I'm almost positive that I'm running out of time. I don't have time. This is a strange, like, I think I just put down someone's artwork, and I think the person, was it Tony Daniel, Brian Hitch, whoever was drawing this satellite, and I just traced it on a light box, like just the shape, and then I did all the detail on it, because I don't feel like working that out, right? It's just, let's get it done. And this was an easy page because all I had to draw was that, and then this is blank because this is colorist work. This was the only really difficult panel, and that wasn't that hard at all. And then we have a shot of Isamalt. How do you pronounce that? I've got a rip in the book. I ripped this. I read it so many times that I got a rip in it. Your copy won't be ripped if you go buy one. Yeah, a nice chance to draw my boy. And people ask me, what is my most popular character? The one that, because you all know now, people who create characters for DC, they can sign a contract with DC to actually receive payments, participation, royalties on these characters that you create. Well, this is my big hit. This is my Thanos. This is my Bane. Those are just two guys offhand I know who are doing pretty good from characters they created for Marvel and DC. Jim Starlin created Thanos. He's having a great time. And of course, Chuck Dixon created Bane for Batman. He is also having a great time. I created Atrocitus, and you know, the thing is, they kind of decide. They go, oh, well, he is a really, really good villain, and we're going to use him. So if there's a DC board game, you know, we might put him in it. If there's somebody showed me they made Pop-Tarts with DC villains on them, and Atrocitus has his own Pop-Tart. He has his own little Fisher-Price Lego set. He's got tons of action figures. He was in Injustice 2, the video game, and I hear rumors that he might be in... he was in a bunch of cartoons, like Green Lantern cartoons, and I think he might be in the upcoming movie. I think. I'm not sure. A little great through the grapevine. Let's just keep our fingers crossed on that. And down here we have two of Shane Davis's creations. So I created the Red Lantern Corps, and then Jeff wrote a miniseries called Rage of the Red Lanterns, like an arc, I think. And Shane Davis drew it, and he got to create a bunch of new Red Lanterns. So this is Bleeze. And the kitty cat right down here. Yeah, this was interesting here. It's like I had to wipe this out and change it because I drew a kitty right on her crotch and had her petting the kitty with her legs akimbo like this. And I realized it was a little more than sexually suggestive, certainly a lot more sexually suggestive and almost difficult to defend than this. But that it was supposed to be, she was supposed to have, the rage kitty, Dexter, and she was supposed to be petting him in her lap. And it's just one of those accidents. And it would have been kind of wink, wink, kind of naughty. But I fixed it, and I took her hand and I put her hand on her waist. She's not petting the kitty. This kitty is like doing that thing that cats do, like scratching the ground, pissed off, angry little alien kitty with a ring on his or her tail. And Bleeze is just like a vampire goddess, blood trickling out of her mouth. And Atrocitus, even though he's angry, he's full of rage, is sitting there thinking and planning. He's planning the Red Dawn, which was the first arc of the Green Lanterns, okay, which was going to come out. New artist on there. Sam was going to take over and just write the whole thing himself. And I'll tell you, when he told me it was going to be Red Dawn, I was green with envy. I did want to draw my guys. At some point, I've got to draw. He's mine. I mean, I might have drawn him half a dozen times. And it's just awful. I really would like to spend more time drawing Atrocitus and putting a little bit more of my stamp on him. But this was fun anyway. I was grateful that Jeff wrote me this splash page. And there it is. I mean, here we have, you finished the book, a bunch of ads. Everybody's did their headshot covers except for Detective Comics. I don't know why. And boom. Very, very big seller. Great selling book. DC had another big hit. Sales were enormous. What did we say? We might have sold 100,000 copies. Of course, over time, that was for the Rebirth books and the #1 issues. Over time, the sales have settled down to be between 30 and 33,000 copies, which in this market is damn respectable, but still disappointing for a Green Lantern book of the quality that I think DC is putting out right now. Both of these books are consistently excellent, and they should be selling better, but they're just, what can we say? I mean, so many reasons I think have disenfranchised some of the fans. So we're trying to win you guys back here. These Green Lantern titles are wonderful, and I do recommend that if you're not currently a reader, you start picking it up, and or even go back and start with this and Hal Jordan Rebirth #1, and catch the flavor of this series and this franchise. All right, so anyway, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hadn't done a commentary in a little while, so I thought I'd better do one. This is Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I'm Ethan Van Sciver. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, please hit like. That really helps me in the algorithm, and it helps the channel. Even if you never offer a super chat in one of our live chats, just hitting like is like tossing a few bucks in a cup. Like if I'm a panhandler on the street with a cup or a guitar case open, that's like you flinging a few bucks into my guitar case, and I certainly appreciate it. Just by hitting like, it's free. Please send this out. Tell people about it. Like, post it on Twitter, and also subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll see you again very soon. Thanks, guys. Happy New Year.